All right, Brian, we have got you. We have got our updates for CAIC this week, and we actually have some good news, which we love to start things off with some good news, especially when there are some safety zones and when we were talking about avalanche and safety. So let's go ahead and jump into that, share the good news with us, and let's dive in why it's a good time for people to get out there and enjoy.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it good news, but it is a silver lining to
Sure.
our lack of snowfall. And the good news that comes along with the lack of snowfall is that avalanche danger is easing, and it's providing much more terrain options that are going to be safe from avalanches. So this is a good time to get out and recreate, enjoy the weather, move around in generally safe avalanche conditions. And let me explain kind of why we're getting to these more generally safe conditions. If you look at these figures here, this is showing you avalanche activity over the last couple weeks in December. So you can see that most of the avalanche activity is taking place on these northerly and easterly facing slopes, particularly at these higher elevations. And if you look at the timeline below, you can see we have these bumps where we have an uptick in avalanche activity, which coincides with our snowstorms, the last of which came right around the Christmas holiday, with avalanche activity peaking on Christmas Day, and then pretty rapidly tapering off. And you can see now we're out in this tail end here where avalanche activity has nearly come to a stop. There's just isolated slopes that are a problem. The map shows you that avalanche activity was confined to the places that got the most snow, which makes sense. So this west side of the San Juan Mountains, the western portion of the Elk Mountains, and then along the northern Continental Divide. So that problem is going to linger with us into the weekend and as we approach the new year, because we had these strong northerly winds, which drifted that Christmas snow. It turned the alpine into kind of a moonscape of hard slab avalanches and created some stiffer avalanches, particularly in the near and above treeline elevation bands. So people traveling on the backcountry are going to be able to trigger avalanches that look like this in the recently wind-drifted snow. Here's a couple of examples of some skier-triggered soft slab avalanches in the recent drifted snow near Crested Butte. And while these avalanches aren't big, it is very thin coverage in most places right now. So even a small avalanche like the one shown here could drag you through things like, buried rocks, logs, stumps, and make for a really ugly ride. So what we want people to be cognizant of is that even though most slopes are going to be safe from avalanches, we want you to look for these stiffer, wind-drifted slabs of snow, and they will feel stiffer to the touch. They will look wind-etched in the terrain, and they can produce these avalanches breaking kind of 1 to 2 feet deep. So here's just an example of some high alpine wind-loaded terrain, and I've circled here in red some of these few isolated slopes that you might want to avoid. Otherwise, conditions are going to be generally safe. You're going to see some areas of low avalanche danger and some areas of moderate avalanche danger, so make sure you get your local forecast. But in the absence of new snow, which doesn't look like we're going to get any substantial snow until at least about the 5th of January, avalanche danger will ease. So it's going to allow people to travel more safely into more terrain. So people should get out there and enjoy it. This is a good time to welcome in 2024 with some safe backcountry travel.
Right. New year, new snow opportunities, and enjoying the backcountry. And this might be a silly question, but I do want to ask, we did have such high winds over the holiday. And when that happens, can you tell me a little bit how that impacts avalanche safety and the snow and kind of how it formates, kind of what that looks like? You showed a fantastic picture here earlier. Can we talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so wind will pick up snow from the windward side, or those are the slopes facing the wind. The wind will pick up the snow, it'll break it into smaller fragments and particles, and then they will pack together on the leeward side, or the side opposite the wind. And that's what creates those stiffer slabs. So when we have northerly and westerly winds, you expect kind of these southerly and easterly facing slopes to harbor those stiffer slabs. And that's what we want people to be looking out for now as we move into this weekend.
Well, fantastic. Thanks for jumping into that a little bit more for me. It's always amazing to see how that wind carries the snow and kind of places it where it's at, to kind of see those stiffer slabs. It's kind of an insane thing to see happen, right? Especially in the backcountry. But that's great to hear that we're going into the new year and there's going to be some opportunities for adventure. So anything else you'd like to add though, Brian?
No, I want everyone to have a safe New Year's season, and we will see you back here next week.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for jumping in for that weekly safety report. Happy New Year, Ryan. We will see you in the new year.
Take care.
Thank you.